to tonight's episode of Tabletop Terrain Talks, where we talk about tabletop gaming, terrain, and other nerdy things. I am Hayley Bell.
And I am Weston.
And we are your resident nerdy couple. We're getting better at that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of fun.
You think after, so many years of marriage, that would work.
We are on the same wavelength. We are basically telepathic.
It does happen a lot to where...
It does. We joke, but it does happen a ton.
Hey,
how's it going, Papa? Hey, Reaper. What's
hello.
up? Haven't seen you in a hot minute, Reaper.
How
are you, dear? I hope you're wonderful and that life is great and fantastic. And I'm going to stop putting adjectives in there. I am finally feeling better, like truly, truly feeling better. I spent the last weekend in Jackson Hole, Wyoming with my sister. She lives up there with her family, and I was so relaxed when I came back. It is so nice.
I think it lasted about 30 minutes of the children to undo that.
Actually, I did bedtime tonight, all by myself, and
you did.
I have not snapped at the boys, and I haven't felt like I'm holding on to not snapping. I just kind of am like...
White knuckling it until bedtime?
I know. Where you're counting down the hours until bedtime. Oh, that has not been today because of my wonderful weekend in Jackson. Yes. However, Weston talk.
Well, this is Zogrul.
I was about to say, you sound like Zogrul right now.
I had the joy while Hayley was gone and I was home with the kids that I suddenly got hit with laryngitis, and it made it very interesting to be the sole parent at home who couldn't speak.
Yeah, that was a fun experience, apparently.
It told me that our kids know what we want because I would just look at them.
You can't talk.
And they'd be like, oh, fine. So,
oh my gosh.
That was been an amazing revelation.
Yes, revelatory. So
and we do have Chaos
Rubina,
who recently just followed today.
Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Chaos Rubina. Welcome to your first ever experience of the chaos that is the bells. And Party of Two. This is super fun. Okay, we got a couple of announcements before we get to TTRPG news, where we round up all of the biggest stories from the last week. In this case, 2 weeks, because we were out last week for doing this. So, just a reminder, our new time, 8 p.m., is for our Monday night show and our Friday night show. So our Friday night actual play will be 8 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That is 10 o'clock Eastern and 7 o'clock Pacific. I had to look at your face for a second to get the word.
And do some math real quick. So that's 6 a.m. if you're in Russia.
Oh my gosh. I don't think our Eastern European friends are going to be all that concerned about watching our Twitch show.
You'd be surprised. A lot of people, I work with a dev team out of
Russia.
Hi, Julian. You are King Julian, just so you know.
I did not make a single King Julian joke in our interview. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're King Julian. If you haven't seen Madagascar, you won't know what we're talking about. Yeah,
I quite frequently will talk about you. Well, I don't frequently talk about you, but when I do talk about you, I'm always like, it's Julianuary.
Yes. But I work with a dev team out of Russia, actually. Honestly, civilians are like, we can't do anything. So having somewhere else to put your attention outside of something you have no control over.
That's true.
Honestly, for a lot of them, it's the one thing they can do.
Do you legit watch King Julian every night to fall asleep?
I hope not.
Really? Oh my gosh, if you do, that is insane. Anyway,
no judgment. We all have our things.
We are a judgment-free. We are a safe space. We do not shame at all. Anyway, so moving on Friday, I am taking over officially the GM's chair where Weston is sitting. I will be sitting for the duration of the story arc that I will be GMing. For those of you who are unfamiliar with our actual play, Weston and I switch off who is in the GM's chair, and we continue the story where the other left off. We each are in charge of a story arc, and we work as a team to weave the stories together so that it is one fluid storyline. We are currently working on a fully homebrewed setting for D&D. We currently are playing Pathfinder in our actual play, but we're making the switch to D&D. But we still love Pathfinder because we're like integrating the two.
Yeah, we're looking at it might be a 3.5.
Yeah, like
I'm a little too
3.5,
crunchy
some
for
5, some like
No, it'll be 3.5 or 5. I'm not doing you can't mix those two.
You know that I'm just going to pull stuff out of 5.
And I'll just say no. Rules lawyer, I object.
Nice. Anyway, so I'm taking over the GM's chair on Friday. So come and hang out and see this amazing story arc that has actually been in the works for a while.
Yes.
And Weston doesn't know what it is. It's
No,
very
I
exciting.
don't.
Also, speaking of our Fridays, March 11th, Weston is going to be out of town. And so we will not be doing a show on Friday the 11th.
Nope.
Which is so sad. I might do a streaming, how to do makeup for streaming.
You should do that.
On that Friday, but I don't know how many people will come. Just watch me do my makeup. That's awesome.
I think
Super
everyone
fun.
will welcome for that.
Cool. Okay, so that's all of our announcements for tonight. Weston, let's get into a TTRPG news. Hello, and welcome back to TTRPG News. The date is wrong. Dang it. We get so close to perfect every time. But welcome to TTRPG News. If you are catching this on the VOD on our YouTube channel, please know that this is streamed live. And if you would like to join, come hang out with us on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/PartyOf2RPG. So, Weston, take it away.
In our first new story of the night, creators of Call of Cthulhu, Chaos Serum, have announced that they will be pulling back from the creation of what?
It's only a year behind. Oh, it says 2021!
Oh my gosh! That's funny, which means no one's noticed it all year.
Reaper, this is why we need you to come to our shows.
Totally need you. Hey, Starry Night just followed the channel.
Thank you so much for the follow, Starry.
Thank you. Knigget.
Sorry, continue.
Wait, is that Knigget?
Is it Knigget?
No.
Or is it Night?
Because
now
it could
we have
be.
it. We're totally off topic. Weston,
Okay.
go back to Chaosium.
Back to seriousness. Okay, creators of Call of Cthulhu, Chaos Serum, have announced that they will be pulling back from the creation of additional NFTs after a major backlash from fans. The VP of licensing said, "We believe we have partnered responsibly to enter this new market of digital collectibles and have a model that is protective of the creators and artists involved. But we understand that digital or physical collectibles are not for everyone. We will never require anyone to own a digital collectible to enjoy any Chaos Serum product or game."
Yes, and the VP did go on to say that I didn't include in this, but he did go on to say that this was a direct result of outcry from the fans, and that they were like, okay, cool. So our voices do count in the TTRPG space, especially with some of the more
The smaller creators.
The smaller creators, they definitely do listen. So if you don't like NFTs, which most of our community doesn't seem to, yay! And thank you very much, Starry Night. And apparently our voices, they say our voices are amazing.
Oh.
Thank you. Here we go.
And I'm sick. Imagine what I sound like when I'm
Weston's
not.
All right, so for our second news story of the night, fans of Doctor Who will have a brand new D&D 5e setting to sink their teeth into very soon. Company Cubicle 7 Games announced this last week that they are developing a new setting for D&D 5e, all based on the beloved Doctor Who BBC TV show. I should do this with an accent. With just a launching soon release date, it will be a fully supported system with its dedicated line of products. These will most likely include things like pre-written adventures and supplements, as well as novelty dice and GM screens. The very first of these products will be a Doctors and Daleks Player's Guide. The company reiterated that they will still be supporting the Doctor Who RPG that they released back in 2009. The company also announced that instead of releasing a supplement covering the adventures of the 13th Doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, they will be releasing a second edition of the Doctor Who RPG. That this is currently available for pre-order on their website. There we go. Thank you very much. You can't! Seriously, Julian, you can't attack us. We are in the middle of a show.
But you can jump and get all the stars.
Get the stars. Attack other people. You guys can attack each other.
Yes. And in other news, Wizards of the Coast has a new D&D starter set coming down the pipeline for 2022. The Dragons of Stormwreck Isles is the official name and is listed with a recommended price of $49.99.
$50.
Yeah, and even though this is in line with the majority of the Dungeons & Dragons books, it's worth pointing out that the previous starter set cost roughly $20, so they more than doubled the price on this. So we're either seeing a major hike in pricing, or we should expect more from this starter kit than we've gotten in the past. Yeah, so that's like 2.5 times the price. So I hope it's one hell of a starter kit.
Yeah, and this was done as like a Hasbro sneak peek for 2022, and it was like a tiny icon in like the top right-hand corner of the sizzle reel, and somebody saw it and was like, we're getting a brand new D&D starter set? What? So they kind of forced Wizards of the Coast's hand by putting that like Hasbro did when they weren't quite ready to announce it.
Oh, geez.
So we don't know anything other than the fact that it's going to be $50. So hopefully it is a much better starter set than what they have had in the past. So in Nintendo news, Nintendo Switch's game In Other Waters is coming to the TTRPG world as a full crew or solo tabletop RPG created by Gareth Damian Martin. This adaptation, titled In Other Waters Tidebreak, takes place after the events of In Other Waters, the Switch game. If you are interested, a Kickstarter is currently up for the game, but it will only be up for a handful of hours. It closes, I believe, tonight at midnight, but I'm not sure what time zone it's at. Their original goal was $5,000, and they have raised $66,000 in the course of the month. So if that's a game that you know of, or that's something that you would like, they have the couple of like levels, like tiers for donating, and you get some pretty cool stuff, including like PDFs of the game and the physical game and all of that jazz.
Oh, that wonderfulness. Here, why don't you cover this one too? So, because I got the last.
Yeah. All right. So TTRPG news adjacent. Elden Ring was released this last week to the joy of all of the Dark Souls fans in the world.
Except for those whose computers can't handle the new graphics requirements.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's fine. But it was released this last week, and as a part of a promotional push, Critical Role has done a Elden Ring one-shot that will be aired this Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific on their channel on twitch.tv/Critical Role. I just felt like I needed to put that in there because Critical Role is Critical Role. And stuff. Yeah, which is everyone. Julian, there are some people who can't handle it.
There are some. And in last news, we have some interesting news that has come out from shareholders within Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. So there's been, you might have seen some articles about, is Wizards of the Coast splitting from Hasbro? What we really have is there's a group of investors that come out of the Alta Fox Capital Management Group who are wanting to split them off. The idea is that they believe that if they split the companies, the stock rise for Wizards of the Coast would rise more than it is being tethered to Hasbro. So this is all stock games. This all has to do with finances. This actually doesn't have anything at all to do with the games at all. But it does have to do with the idea of if the companies could split. Now, this would give Wizards of the Coast more control over what they do. They'd be untethered at all by Hasbro, but at the same time, their Hasbro has a name, they've got a background, so it would be an interesting thing. Now, what would have to happen in order to make this occur is AltaFox is proposing some additional members to the board of Hasbro. They're trying to get 5 people added to the board from their group.
I am very qualified. I'm a nerd.
Do you own stock
that out there.
in Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast?
No, but if you gave me a job with stock, then I would have stock.
There you go.
So
or you can go buy some stock. Which actually, if you are a stockholder, if you have bought stock in Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro, you have the right to vote. Most people don't, but you do actually have the right to vote. And so if they can get these people into those board spaces, then they might have the actual leverage and power to cause a split between the companies. So the whole idea, again, is what they want to do is split the companies. Then they get the option of, okay, which company do you want stock in? They take it in Wizards of the Coast because they think Wizards of the Coast can rise more than Hasbro can.
Yeah.
Because Hasbro stock has been really stable, hasn't gone up but Wizards is on its way up.
Yeah, well, and in the Hasbro release of their earnings for 2021, fully half of their profit was made from Wizards of the Coast products.
Yeah.
So if they split, it would be a huge issue for Hasbro, though, because that was half of their product for 2021.
But the thing is, and this is the one thing about publicly traded companies, stockholders make those decisions, not necessarily people who care about the company. That's the downside of publicly trading company. So
yeah. Starry Night says that one of their friends and some of the family works at Wizards of the Coast. They like the split.
Do they?
They're wanting to do it.
You see, I could see that because
it would be great for Wizards of the Coast.
Hasbro's a really old company. From what I understand, they have some very old ways that they do things. Wizards having the flexibility to make decisions for itself could be good for the company long term. We'll have to see what happens.
And Julianuary says that Hasbro pays good dividends because he has stock.
There you go.
You have stock, so you can vote.
Yep.
All right. Well, that is it for TTRPG News. If you know of anything newsworthy within the TTRPG space and you want to share it with us, you can always find us on Twitter at PartyOf2RPG Live. Or you can find my personal Twitter, which is HayleyM_Bell, and you can just shoot me a DM. We also have an email. Shoot me a DM. Pew, 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 pew. We also have an email, partyof2rpg@gmail.com, which you can email and shoot us some of your stuff as well. And that is it for today's episode of TTRPG News.
And as always, Tabletop Terrain Talks, this Monday night show, is brought to you by our sponsor.
Who is amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. If you watch our show, our actual play, all of our terrain is built out of Terraino, and Jake was kind enough to be our very first sponsor, which was really, really cool.
So, let's roll that.
Have you ever wanted terrain at your table or for your online games but found it either too expensive to buy or too intimidating or time-consuming to make? Well, you're not alone. This is why thousands of gamers in over 30 countries have embraced the Terraino modular terrain system. All you'll need is a handful of techniques and tools to make Terraino pieces. And most of those terrain pieces are less than 10 cents a piece. What makes this all possible? The Terraino construction manuals at GameGearMaster.com. They're included tools and templates printable on any home, office, or retail store printer. They're clear, concise, written instructions and the accompanying tutorial videos take out the guesswork and make building pieces as fast and easy as tracing, cutting, and gluing. Get started in seconds by downloading the Terraino construction manuals at GameGearMaster.com. Happy crafting!
So yes, go check out GameGearMaster.com. You can actually use a promo code of Party of 2 RPG Live in order to get 10% off of their manuals, or they actually now have a Patreon where you can get updates as they release new content all the time.
Yep.
All right.
Jake's amazing.
We love Jake.
He also builds a full, like, he does like homebrew campaigns, or not campaigns, like one-shots that are tied to the terrain. So like you get the one-shot and then you get the terrain to build for that one-shot, which is super fun and awesome sauce. And oh, Starry Night, that's so fun. Now we have a connection.
All right. So let's jump into the topic of the night.
Yes. So how to stream, or 10 things that we wish we had known when we started streaming.
Yep.
There is so much out there about how to stream, what to use, how to use it, and it gets really, really confusing. I don't know if you experienced that, Wes, when we were first starting on like how to do stuff.
I'm still confused.
We still get confused. That's true. Because there's all this new technology that's out there that's designed specifically for streamers. There's a company called Elgato that is like strictly streamers.
The cat?
No, it's not El Gato. It's Elgato.
Oh, okay.
It's one word, not 2 words. It is just one. Thank you. But there's so much technology out there, and there's this idea that you have to spend a ton of money to start streaming. And it's not true. And we wanted to kind of give you guys how we got started and the things that we used to like really make the stream what it is today.
Well, and what's worth spending money on and what's not. Because there are some things you can spend money on, not worth it. Or you can find free ways to do it that work great. Mm-hmm. Others, there are things that you're like, you need to spend on that.
Yeah, you need to spend the money on that. There are some things that we did that we kind of scraped at first, and then we realized we really do need to spend the money for these things, and other things that you really don't need, that people will tell you need, but you don't. So let's start with our very first one. Don't scrimp on your audio. So I'm sure, Starry Night, since you said that you have synesthesia and you only listen to people that sound good, audio quality is a huge part of that. That was one thing that as a former podcast producer that I refused for us to scrimp on, was our audio quality, because it would have driven me crazy if we continued to use things like the webcam mics or USB mics or whatever. Hold on just one second. I've got to turn the music down. It's really loud.
You know I can do that from here too, right?
You can?
Yeah.
I don't have to totally lean over and screw with my camera?
Nope.
Camera, focus, there we go. So audio quality is something that's really important, especially if you're wanting to make your show a podcast as well. So if you're starting an AP, there's a couple of things you're going to need to know right off the bat for audio. Is it live, in person? That's what I mean by live, not live on the interwebs, but are you in person? If you're in person, then you need to figure out your audio situation, like number one, first off. We use XLR mics, dynamic microphones with XLR cables. That is these little things.
Which if you're gonna be in person, this is definitely the way to go.
Go with an XLR mic system. It is a little bit more expensive than getting a USB mic, but it is the highest quality that you're going to get is the XLR sound. USB microphones actually condense all the sound down so that it is easy for the computer to read through the data system. With XLR microphones, it actually goes into the mixer, and then it's like mixed in the mixer and then put into the computer, but it does it in a way that's going to preserve the audio that it's actually recording. Now, the types of microphones that you can get are condenser microphones or dynamic microphones. Condenser microphones are going to have a lot of sound that it picks up that's like ambient noise. So if you're in a room that there's going to be a lot of people, I do not suggest a condenser microphone unless it is a shotgun microphone. If it is a shotgun microphone, it has a very directed sound that it will pick up. So you can use that if you have a lot of people in the room.
Which those are fairly...
They can be very expensive. You can get ones that are cheaper, like inexpensive, that are still okay for like a room like this. I do know Critical Role, they use shotgun microphones that are about $1,000 each. But I'm a kind of a nerd when it comes to audio. So my favorite microphone is for like starting out is a Shure SM58, and Shure is SHURE, and it's an SM58. We have one of our microphones, mine, that's the Shure, and Weston's is a kind of generic like Radio Shack.
You know, it's just using the generic one.
You're using the generic one because I'm using the really nice one. It's fine. But this is a really good one to start with. It's about $100. You can get sets that are like $120 that come with the XLR cable, but you're going to need to have a mixer with a connector into the computer for a line-in. But this is what we use for everything.
Yeah, and this is where I would spend the most money. This is the place where it's like, dude, spend some money. Because when you're doing an actual play, people are listening to you for a couple hours. And if it doesn't sound good, and let's be honest, most of the time people are watching some and listening most.
Yeah, most of the time people are going to be listening to your voice. They're not going to be watching. I know that almost all of the actual plays that I watch I listen to. So I'll put it on my computer, and I have 3 monitors on my computer, and I'll put it on one of them, but I'm not really watching it. I'm listening to it while I'm doing my work or doing other things. So audio quality is going to be the number one thing you want to get right.
Now, if you're not in person, if you're all in different places, you can a lot of times get away with like a gaming headset with a mic on there.
Yeah, a gaming headset with a mic, that'll work. You want to have a high quality one though. You want one that's not going to pick up a lot of ambient noise. I'll be honest, the Microsoft ones that they say are built for gamers, they suck. Don't use them. You'll want to spend a little bit of money on that. But you can use USB mics that are like $40 or $50 that will work perfectly fine. The type that I suggest is the Blue Yeti.
The Yeti is very good.
The Yeti is a really, really good one. It is a condenser mic. So if you're playing in different areas, if you guys are all doing it virtually online, and you can just sit in your room and have a condenser mic, that works perfectly for that type of a situation. So that is the big one. Do not scrimp on your audio.
I will say one other thing.
Oh, and if you guys have any questions about like specific microphones or cables or anything that we talk about, please shoot it in the chat and we will answer questions.
One thing I will say also about the mics, regardless of what type of mic you're going to use, always record yourself in whatever room you're going to be in and listen to it, because the room makes a big difference.
Yes. It makes a huge difference. That's actually why we use dynamic microphones in this room instead of using condenser mics, because we actually don't have very much on the walls, and it's a very live room in theater and in audio. That means that the sound will bounce and echo, and with a dynamic microphone, it's getting just what's right here.
Yeah, if you're going with a what was the other one? Condenser. These are dynamic. Okay. If you're going with a condenser, go in the room that has the most stuff on the walls humanly possible.
Your closet's the best space.
Closets are great because then the sound gets absorbed rather than bounced back to you to give an echo.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I work with, in my job, I work with people who are extremely wealthy and have extremely good mics, but they're in rooms that echo, and it's like, dude, I can hear double for everybody. Even though I know you have $1,000 mic, your room is so live.
Yeah, that and I'll be honest, it doesn't matter if you buy a $5,000 microphone if you don't know how to use it.
Yep.
It will not matter. So learn your equipment. You can spend I think on our mixer, the cables, the microphone. I think maybe we spend $200
over time.
And all of these things that we have done that we're going to suggest to you guys, we've done them all over time. We didn't just like drop a whole bunch of money at the very beginning of streaming, because this man across from me, he is very smart, and he's like, we're not dropping a whole bunch of money on something when we don't even know if we're going to do it long term. But we're heading to a year that we have been streaming. May 1st will be our 1 year anniversary. So cool. Okay. Okay.
My turn?
Yes, your turn.
Video.
Bouncing like a bouncy ball mimic. That's true. Funny. It's true though.
But video. We said number 1 is audio to spend your money.
Yes.
Video is secondary.
It's number 2.
If you're like, oh, I've got so much in my budget, what do I put towards audio? What do I put towards video? 80% audio, 20% video. Because people will forgive bad video. They won't really forgive bad audio.
No.
Great example. If you've ever listened to the first couple episodes of Critical Role.
For those of you who are new to the stream, we do talk about Critical Role a lot because it's I think one of the few actual plays that you and I have both watched, like all of.
Well, and that I've seen from its conception, from the very beginning. And it shows a good progression in audio quality.
Yes.
The first, what would you say? It's
17 or 18 episodes.
The audio is horrific.
And as a producer, when I started listening to Critical Role, I was still producing professionally, and it hurt. It hurt. It physically hurt me to listen to them, you guys. It was bad. It was real bad.
Their video sucked too.
Their video was horrible.
Their
video was horrible. Their audio was horrible. They had a horrible set.
But at the same time, you would have forgiven bad video.
Oh, for sure.
But the bad audio almost turned you off to the show.
It almost made me stop listening.
So that's where video can be sacrificed to audio.
Yeah.
Now, what do you need for video? Kind of depends on what you're doing. If you are, again, playing virtually and everyone's in their different spaces, you just get a webcam.
Mm-hmm. A simple webcam.
Any webcam, as long as it has HD, okay, go with a simple video webcam. We've got 2 webcams right here that we're actually using. What do we spend on these? It's like
we
$60.
$65 on them, I think.
These were $65 webcams. They're not that expensive at all.
No,
you can get less expensive that are still pretty good. It all depends on how far away you're going to be from your webcam. Since we're both live sitting across from tables from each other, we're at the maximum distance you can be.
And still have it be HD and in focus.
Then so we had to go with a little bit different ones that did well on that. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to just be sitting in front of your computer playing over a virtual tabletop, just go buy a webcam. Yeah. You don't really need to worry too much about it.
Logitech is a really good brand if you're getting just a basic standard distance for your camera. Elgato, which I said earlier, it's ELGATO. They have some really good webcams, and there is a website actually that is really, really good on talking about streaming and audio and video, and it's Alpha Gaming House. They're on YouTube, and he was a professional streamer for years and decided to kind of shift his focus to help streamers out with all of their questions about how to stream and how to make money and do it professionally and whatnot. So if you go to youtube.com/C/Alpha Gaming House, or just look up Alpha Gaming on YouTube, you'll find him. But he does massive breakdowns and comparisons to crazy depth.
Yeah.
On his show.
Now the other thing is okay, what about a rig? Stands and everything for my show. You can actually go really cheap here. We went really cheap here. The video cameras right now are being hung from 2 PVC pipes that are screwed into the ceiling.
I'm going to show them.
Yeah, go ahead and show them.
Okay. So there's our ceiling. There's our light. There's our other one. And there's the rig. There's the other camera.
Yep.
Say hello, other camera.
I think you got these clips from the dollar store.
The clips that we actually clip on, we have these ones are from the Dollar Tree. And wait, there it is. These ones are from the Dollar Tree. And then I just realized I'm really far away from my mic. And then the other ones I got from Harbor Freight Tools. But these PVC pipes are just T joints.
Yep.
And connectors that are just in the normal like hardware section. So
yeah, he's like, I thought you were all in 2 different rooms. No, we're in the same room.
We're across. I can throw things at him.
Well, and this is why, like we talked about the mics. Like the reason we can be in the room together is because of the type of mic that we've got. And then we've got these rigs, and you notice like behind us, that's just a small backdrop. Those weren't that expensive either. Those were like what, $20?
No, those were, I think that one was like 30 and this one was 20, and they're photography backgrounds. So you don't have to have like a crazy thing behind you if you're going to be just streaming like where it's just one person in the frame. And if you're doing something bigger like Critical Role or Dimension 20 or what's the two Perception, which is a Pathfinder one.
Yeah, 2 Perception
they
or
have
the
actual sets.
Yeah.
That they perform on. But like us, we just have photography backdrops.
Now here is the one thing one caveat I'll say. You can spend, just kind of, decent amount, get a good looking webcam. But if you're doing physical, if you're playing in person and you're playing with terrain, that's where you get a good camera.
Yes. And that is where we are trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Because we have a nice camera that we can use, but we can't get the systems to talk to each other.
So, I mean, I've got some freakishly awesome terrain that I built for our last story arc.
The pictures are still on the Google Drive if you want to show them.
Oh, let me pull that up.
Do you want to look at
the
some
sad
terrain?
thing,
do you guys want to see some terrain porn? Let's be honest.
The sad thing was that it didn't show up well.
Yeah, you did so much work on that terrain to not be able to see it well. Just made me sad. Like I was sad about that because it was so gorgeous. So Weston's picking up some pictures, or pulling up some pictures right now of our terrain that we had for our last encounter that he built, hand built, the whole thing. We used the trainal system that you saw previously in the little ad and stuff, but Weston is like a master craftsman, so he was able to figure it out.
All right, let me try this. Let's see if this works. So let me open.
Oh, we are going to talk about that next, Julian, the internet thing.
Let me see if this pops up for you.
There we go. So that's one of the photos of our terrain and our encounter.
So this was all like, I spent a lot of time on this terrain, and it looks great in these images, but you couldn't catch a lot of this detail. That's what I wanted to get to.
Oh,
you couldn't see a lot of this detail on the webcam.
No, you couldn't, which was so sad because you guys can see the depth of detail that Weston put into this stuff, and the fact that we had a camera that couldn't pick this stuff up was
disheartening.
Was sad.
So that's where if you are in person and you're doing like physical terrain or you're buying Dwarven Forge or anything like that investment, I'm going to buy all this cool Dwarven Forge terrain. Guess what? No one can tell how awesome it is unless you got a camera that will work. Now you can use, if you've got an iPhone or a phone with good camera, there are some softwares you can buy that will let you use that. Generally though, they cost a pretty penny.
We found one that worked that allowed our iPhone 13 to connect and talk to our video software, but it was
pay
like
$10 a month.
$10 a month for it. And if that was your only option, it'd be like, okay, bite the bullet and do it. But we're trying to figure out some other things because we already pay for so many things.
We do.
Which we can go into a little bit to answer your question, Julian. So, Everyday Superhero Cast, a.k.a. Julian. King Julianuary. How many...
Yes, next session is Friday.
Yeah, so our actual play is on Friday nights at the same time on this channel. So Julian asked, how much have you found internet speed or connection affects video quality when streaming?
A ton.
It makes a massive difference.
We were so happy when fiber came down our street and was like installed, and they're like, oh, you can now purchase it. So we do not scrimp on internet.
No.
because if you're streaming, it's going to require a lot of data. And that data is going to be limited if you are doing that. That's like with us, because we're in person. From one computer, I currently have, when we've got terrain up, I have 3 webcams going and 1 mic, and all that data is then going into OBS, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then all of that data is trying to stream to Twitch. That's a ton of data. That is going to suck up a ton of bandwidth if you are running off of a low-speed internet. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, so when we first started our stream, we had a provider called Comcast, which is the biggest provider here in Utah, and it was crap. Honestly, it was barely good enough for us to do our jobs at, and it would drop every minute and a half. It would drop the frames, and then it would come back, but the audio would be fine. The audio would keep going, but then the video would just glitch every minute and a half.
Because the video is what takes more of your bandwidth.
Yeah, which was really bad and very frustrating. And when we made the switch to fiber, it was the best. It made such a huge difference on everything.
Now, one thing for you with this, double check the speeds on your routers, because some routers, especially some newer routers, actually have a faster speed on your Wi-Fi than they do on your Ethernet cable.
Just crazy.
Yeah. So with the router that we have and everything from our stuff, we're actually getting faster through Wi-Fi than if I Ethernet cable into it. Also check if you have an older computer, the Ethernet connector on it might be limited in its speed. We were running off of a desktop that's older, and I realized that on that, the max I can get was 100 megabytes per second. Whereas on a Wi-Fi, now I'm getting 500 megabytes per second. So check and know your systems.
Yeah.
To get the optimal speed on your Wi-Fi or your Ethernet cable connection.
Hi, KevBot. Ha ha ha. I can see your dragon. So the internet is definitely something that you want to upgrade if you have had issues with streaming or having really good quality video. Look into the internet and upgrade as soon as you can. But I would like to say video, like we said earlier, is secondary. So upgrade your audio first and then upgrade your video.
And upgrading your video is when you really need to look at upgrading your connection, because it's the video, especially if you're trying to do in HD, if you're trying to do a 1080 or higher, that's when your connection is really going to suck up your bandwidth. The audio really doesn't take up that much. So if you're streaming at 720p and have audio, you can probably handle a slower internet connection.
Yeah.
So that's where build as you build.
Yep.
Don't, my personal opinion, unless you got the liquid funds and hey, want to go buy all the cool stuff.
Yeah, then go get it, because it's nice to start out with all of the things that are fun and pretty.
But you can build as you go. Because let's be honest, unless you have a good connection of people, your first streams, no one's watching them.
Nobody watches them.
So it's okay.
And that's fine. And that's the way that it
That's the way it goes.
I mean, we have streams still now that we have one person on until
a while
for half an hour. So
it happens.
That's a pretty normal thing. So
podcast.
The very last thing I want to say is ring lights are very inexpensive nowadays. Weston's lifting his up. I have one right here. Ring lights are very inexpensive. They are worth the money.
Well, and you'd be
ring light
you'd be surprised how dark a room can be, and the cameras make it look good.
Well, yeah, because I showed you guys a second ago. Our overhead light's off. We only have light via a ring light and then an ambient light. That's a diffused light in the room.
Yep.
So ring lights are very, very good to give you a good, nice, soft look on your face, and they're fairly inexpensive. You can get sets. Like a vlogging set or whatever for $20 at Walmart.
Yeah.
You don't need ridiculous ring lights. You can spend hundreds of dollars on ring lights if you would like to.
I love what Starry Night said there, because I've used that. He's like, I stream just so we can go back and take better notes than we do while we're playing. Because I can say there have been times as a GM where I didn't take notes of things, and I'm like, oh, I can go back and watch.
You're like, oh dear.
Oh, that was the names I gave the 3 halfling servants that used.
Or like when you completely forget in the middle of your session what the name of the mysterious gentleman was.
That was funny.
I felt so stupid that episode. Anyway, but the ring lights, they're very inexpensive, but they make a huge difference to your the look of your stream. So when you're ready to really take on video, there you go.
Ring lights also increase post-performance crash?
They do.
Everyday Superhero Cast.
My ring light is like a yellowish green color, so it's not the bright fluorescent, and yours is like a off-white kind of thing.
That's an interesting.
I did not know that.
We'll have to look into that one.
That is interesting.
You learn something new every day.
All right, so do a podcast too.
Yes.
So if you are wanting to do a podcast and you're just wanting to create an actual play of a podcast, then all the video stuff doesn't matter. But the audio matters
even more.
And same thing that we said earlier, if you're just creating a podcast, you need to have all the good audio equipment, but you need to be able to capture it well. So you can use different systems to capture all of the audio. My personal favorite, and unfortunately it is a paid product, but is Adobe Audition. Adobe Audition for capturing audio and then editing audio is really good quality, and it does matter what you use to capture your audio. The free one that is available that is actually really quite good, like it's my number 2, is Audacity.
Which is free.
Audacity is free, and it is an open source capture and edit DAW.
It's pretty good.
DAW. That will normally suffice for most people, but if you're wanting to do a little bit more complicated editing, then I would highly suggest looking into a paid product like Adobe Audition, or if you have a Mac, Lightning Pro, I think is the name of it. It's like the upgraded version of GarageBand.
I don't know.
But
I have a Mac and I
also,
use
if you
it
have a Mac,
begrudgingly.
if you have a Mac, GarageBand is really good for audio capture as well. So it has limitations, but it's a pretty good capture.
Well, and honestly, if you're doing an actual play, doing a podcast, taking it, stripping the audio, and doing a podcast isn't that difficult.
No, it's not that difficult at all, actually. It takes a little bit of time. More than anything, it just takes the processing time. And that's what I want to talk about is podcasting. So editing sucks.
Just accept it.
Do you guys know these things? That editing a podcast sucks. It is frustrating. It is annoying. You have to put the intros on. You have to do the outros. You have to do your little commercial breaks. You have to do all of this stuff. Or you could literally just take the audio and be all of who you are in all of your glory and put it on as a podcast. There's a reason that I say these things. Why are you looking at me like that?
Are you sure that's possible?
Yes, it is possible. I put an intro on and I do an outro on our show when I post it as a podcast sometimes. Sometimes I don't. But I don't go through and edit it. I don't edit out I don't edit out crosstalk. I don't edit out pauses. I will edit out breaks. Like if we have gone on a break in that session, then I will edit that out. If we have had parenting moments, sometimes I will leave them in because I want... Our show is about us as a married couple,
playing the game.
This together and playing the game and being very real, and so I don't edit any of that stuff out. I would suggest if you're someone who does want to edit things in your podcast, don't edit too much because it starts to sound fake and stilted.
Yeah. Pauses and breaks and breaths are normal. Mm-hmm. And if you try and cut all of it out, it just starts to sound off.
Yeah, it's kind of ugh. So I personally am of the opinion raw is real, and you just take the audio, strip it from your video, put end caps on it, and then put it out there. It's the easiest way to do it. And what's really cool is it's no real additional work for you if you're already doing a video show.
Yep.
There are some systems that you can actually record the audio on a separate thing. I don't think OBS does this, but you can actually record and capture the audio separate from your video, so that's already stripped for you. So you just save the audio and the video. It'll save it separately and together, and you can choose which ones to use.
I'll need to check. I've never actually checked to see if I can do that on OBS.
There are a couple of that can do that. But I don't know about OBS.
There might be an extension that can.
It would be really nice because
which gets us into software.
Software.
So, what are the software that you need to stream? First and most important one is you need an OBS. So there's Streamlabs OBS. I just use regular OBS, and it is free, and it works great, and it's what a lot of the big names use.
It's what most of the entire industry of streaming for YouTube, for Twitch, for TikTok, for Instagram now, like all of these different platforms, all of them use OBS now.
Well, and it has a lot of control you can have over it. Like right now on it, I've got set up to where the audio is coming out of my computer from the where it's playing on my computer. Then it goes out my audio into the mixer, then back into my audio, and it also comes out my TV where Hayley can hear it.
So I can hear the music as well, so it's not just quiet for me.
So it's all just like cycling all over the place.
And I would like to say Weston is inordinately talented when it comes to technology, so he's able to figure things out very, very quickly, where if it was me, we'd be screwed.
But there are tons of YouTube tutorials, tons of information out there. If you just want how to do this on OBS, someone's made a video about it, because everyone uses this, and almost every system out there that you could use to integrate with a stream has settings for how to integrate with OBS.
Yep, that's what I was saying, like TikTok and stuff. I was doing research on how to stream in TikTok through OBS. You can do it. You can do Instagram. You can do Facebook. You can do YouTube.
Everything.
You can really do anything.
So OBS is your number one. From there, and this is an important thing, the software you use will use bandwidth. Mm-hmm. So especially if you're dealing with bandwidth issues, using more complicated softwares, also like throwing on your D&D Beyond extensions and everything like that.
These little avatars add to our bandwidth.
Yep, they do. Luckily, they don't add a ton, but all of that adds.
But they're so cute.
They are. All of that adds. Now, I'm going to give you kind of some base levels ones that you can use to get started that are free and actually very low load on your CPU and on your data. So so if you're doing a game where there's other people and you're far away, like you're remote, you're doing virtually VOD type thing, I actually love VDO.ninja.
Okay, I'll put this in.
So it's VDO.ninja.
I have enough points for hero points. Save them for Friday.
Save them for Friday.
We really use them.
This will work. So a lot of people use Discord.
Hold on. So wait, say that again because I'm going to type it in.
VDO.ninja.
VDO.ninja.
But
is it spelt the normal way?
Derek just said, "Where's my cute dragon?" Well, there's the one you got right now. If you want to switch it, you can go ahead.
Who said that?
Derek.
Oh, Darren.
Darren
Z. Darren Z. Your dragon is the cute little green one.
Darren Z.
The teeny tiny little green one.
If you want to switch, you can go to the About on our Twitch, and it'll have a little box where you can pick other dragons.
Why?
Why what?
Why is there it is? I'm like, why is his name not showing up?
When you've got so many people, it starts to have names disappear for a period of time.
I know.
But the reason I like Video Ninja, this is very lightweight on your system. If you're using Discord, it is heavy on your system.
Sucks.
It will suck your CPU, it'll suck your bandwidth, and you are going to end up having lag on your video and your audio all throughout your stream unless you got high quality internet. Mm-hmm. Whereas Video Ninja is much more lightweight. And especially what I love about it is you can make each on OBS, you have it to where you can capture a window from your browser. Mm-hmm. You can say, okay, this right here, capture this browser window. You can make each person's camera a different browser window. And you can control each person's audio individually on video.ninja, which you can't do on Zoom.
No, you can't do that on Zoom, and I don't believe you can do that on Discord either.
I don't know if you can.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. I don't think so. I know you can mute everybody, but I don't think you can. Can
you like lower it just a little bit? You know, that you can all do on video.ninja. It is free to use. So it's a great product. I was introduced to it on a stream that you had done, and I'm like, this is what I'm using every time that we have a guest on the show.
Well, and you'll get to see that because on the 18th, we are having our friends at Tomes of the Chaos Bard as guests on our show.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really fun.
Now, next one is you need, again, if you're playing remotely, you need a virtual tabletop.
Is video.ninja free?
Yes.
Yes. Free.
It is free. Next one, you need your virtual tabletop. Now, Roll20 is definitely where most people are doing this stuff.
Yeah, most people do things through Roll20.
Because they've got their character sheets on there. There's Foundry, which is very popular among the Pathfinder community.
Roll20 does cost something if you are the DM. Mm-hmm. If you are the player, it does not. Okay. Same thing with D&D Beyond.
Yes.
It costs something for the DM to put everything in there and whatnot and to control everything and see everything. But for the players, it does not cost anything.
Yeah. Well, no, on D&D Beyond, you got to buy all the books and all that
you have to buy the book. Whatever.
Expensive.
But, yeah.
But then you also got Foundry.
Free, though, isn't it?
Same thing, though. If you want to have your information imported from your gaming system, it costs you money.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to put everything in as if it was a homebrew, then you can do it for free, but then it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
So you are generally paying then to have the Pathfinder or the D&D 5e rule set integrated into your system.
Okay.
If, on the other hand, you are like, hey, we're just going to do old school style, have your sheets, but I want a virtual tabletop, I recommend Owl Bear Rodeo.
Owl Bear is so easy to learn.
It is. And I also recommend it if you are going to have exploration and like have your map get revealed.
Yeah, this is what we use.
This is what we use. So Owl Bear Rodeo is free to use. It is very I thought it was very user friendly. You start a game, it then gives you a URL. You share that URL with the other person, they join the game, and then they can see your map. That easy. You can put in your tokens. You can put in your upload an image. You can do your fog of war to hide certain parts of the map.
Well, and it's really, really easy for a player. I've played now a couple of times on that system. It is so easy as a player to manipulate the map the way that you need to, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I feel like Roll20 is kind of complicated, and I never figured out certain things, and it was very annoying. But Owlbear, it was like so intuitive. I was like, I wanted to go over there. Over there. So, check them out. I really like it. And they're, the video quality, or not the video, but the quality of the maps that you can load into it is really nice too.
Which means then you need your maps.
Yeah.
If you want a free option, I highly recommend RPG Map Editor 2. You can find this at deepnight.net. I can drop it in the chat. But this is a wonderful free map making tool, and you can find online and load in any file, any little image file that you want, and then use it in the map. So there's a good community out there that you can get images from and build very good maps.
Yeah.
If you want the next level up, which we upgraded to using Incarnate.
Dungeon Fog?
I have used Dungeon Fog a little bit. I haven't used it a ton. I do know that one does have a cost, I believe. And I haven't jumped into it really.
We haven't dug as deeply into the virtual tools because we're live. We're in the same room, so that makes sense.
Yeah, well, and we have physical terrain.
Yep, and we have physical terrain because we are nerds. And Weston got into painting minis recently.
Yeah,
so he loves it. I
do know Dungeon Fog is good. It does have a paid version, but the basic is apparently free. Mm-hmm. So any one of these work well and are generally pretty good. It's just about the amount of time you're going to dedicate to making your map.
Yeah, and I do want to point out too with map making, Starry Night says same exact ways to do stuff as Incarnate. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because we have a paid subscription to Incarnate, and that's where you build all of your maps, isn't it? So there are there are quite a few incredible map makers within this community that I would suggest if you want to get maps because you don't have time to build your own. You can get some beautifully pre-made maps from a couple of different people in this community that I'm personally connected to. I know there are tons, but these are the people I'm connected to. Maps and Quest, Avalanche on Twitter, those two on Twitter. Maps and Quest and Avalanche both have Patreons that you can get access to all of their back catalog of maps, as well as free maps that they do once a week. It's Free Map Friday or something like that. But those two are really, really good. But if you just scroll through TTRPG Twitter, you will find map makers.
And this is
so many.
This is like most things in this hobby. You have two options. If you want free, it's going to take you time. Mm-hmm. If you are time constrained, it's going to cost you money. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of just the way it goes. If you can dedicate the time, there are free options. If you're I don't have time to dedicate, well, then there are paid for options that are a lot of times reasonable.
Yeah, there are. Ches and Peck. Mind if I name some of my favorite map makers on Twitter?
Go right ahead.
Go right ahead. I'm not as connected with the cartography on Twitter as I would like to be.
Yeah, go ahead and drop them.
Just because we don't use it.
So that's a lot of the softwares that you need. You need your OBS. You need your, if you're doing online, you need your virtual tabletop. And if you are getting video from other people, then you need a VDO, which Video Ninja is the one I recommend to be the lightest on your system. Because as you start running all these programs simultaneously on your computer, you're going to need either a beefy computer or some lightweight software.
Yeah, and the lightweight software is normally the best way to go.
The best
when you're starting out.
Beefy computer with lightweight software. That's the best way to go.
That's kind of what we do because we have a really beefy laptop that we're gifted, which was really nice.
Fairly good.
Okay, so next one. Check for copyrights for everything. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Check copyrights for everything. So, DCM DMCA. There we go. DMCA. It's the Department for Music and something, or it's the copyright people. It's the copyright police. They went on a complete insane tirade on Twitter or on Twitch within this last year, where they struck probably like something like 10,000 accounts or something ridiculous like that, where they actually removed the accounts from Twitch because of copyrighted music and material that were in their streams.
Yep.
Twitch will not protect you. YouTube will not protect you. If you have copyrighted material, specifically music and images, in your actual play, you will eventually get dinged. So check the copyright. Check copyright on music. Check the copyright on images. Check copyright on clips to make sure that it falls under the Fair Use Act if you're going to use clips for anything. We did an episode where I was reacting to anime, really physics of anime with the female form, and
she was laughing at the
I was
anime bouncing boobies.
Yeah,
because she's always just been like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's weird."
It just doesn't. Whatever. We're not going to go there right now. We don't need to open that can of worms. But we were very cautious to use the right amount of time, and we were using it as a critique and a parody, which falls under the Fair Use Act. So we could use those clips, but be very, very careful. Now, there are some programs, subscriptions that you can get, or you can use like what we're using right now for our background music was created by the Alpha Gaming guy. His name is Harris Heller, because he knew that this is a problem for streamers with the DMCA, and he wanted to offer them something. So he has entire playlists on Spotify, on Amazon Music, on YouTube, that is copyright-free music, and he has hundreds of tracks that you can mix together and put on your streams, and you never, ever, ever, ever have to worry about getting a DMCA strike.
Yep.
Or a copyright strike. We also use a subscription to
Epidemic Sound.
Thank you. Can you tell my medication is worn off? Because my brain is like all over the place. I was recently diagnosed with ADHD, you guys, and like my medication works the bomb, but you can tell when it wears off. But we use Epidemic Sound, which covers everything all of the music that we used while we had the subscription. But if you get a subscription-based music copyright thing, you have to make sure that you only use the music during the time you have the subscription. Weston and I didn't realize that we had music from Epidemic Sound on one of our episodes after we canceled our subscription. Well, they came after us and they put a copyright strike on one of our YouTube videos that I had uploaded because it had the music on there. So we got a subscription for the month. So that it covered it, and it covered it retroactively. So they were like, "Okay, you're good," and they released the copyright strike. But we have to figure out what we need to do to change the music for our intro, because we were using music from Epidemic Sound, and now we have to change it. So
Starry Night does want to ask. So the stream beats is Harris
Heller.
Harris Heller, or you can also find him at
Alpha Gaming.
So he has two different channels there. He's the one, though, that has the stream beats, which is what I'm currently playing.
Yep. And it's good. And he has lots of they have different types. They have like rock and like lo-fi. We do the lo-fi one. They have like pop and hip hop and stuff. He's from or lives here in Utah. They recently moved here, and he built a ridiculous studio that is just like a streaming studio space, and records all of their stuff there. And yeah.
Now, one thing about this, though, I wouldn't use this music actually in an episode of our actual play. No, I wouldn't use that. So for our actual plays, I do use the Epidemic Sound a little bit, but I really have started using Sirenscape.
Yes.
Sirenscape, it will give you all of your ambient backgrounds and your music. They are a little music light. Like, it's actually really hard to find good music, like background music, but they have a lot of sound effects. So you can end up throwing an epidemic sound thing going, and then also turn on Sirenscape and like have them going together if you want to. I took the time to search through the music in order to bring it into the show. But that's a really cool one, especially if you want to add the ambient sounds. I've got one for while we're in the town of Kintargo, and it's got the wagon wheels and the horse clops on the street.
It sounds like we're kind of like in a marketplace kind of thing.
And then we had one. There was one episode. There's a spell in Pathfinder that lets you make a hot spring. And so we had a hot spring episode.
It was awesome. We were glamping.
And I had, the bubbling sound in the background, of the water bubbling back there. So
and Sirenscape is free. They just ask that you... No. There is a version of Sirenscape that is free, and then there's one that's $10 a month.
So what it is, you can get it for free, but you have an extremely limited amount of sounds and of things you have access to. Or you pay $7 a month to have access to all of their fantasy library, which is a ridiculous amount of stuff that you'll never use all of it. But you have access to all of it for $7 a month. So it's a pretty reasonable price. The one thing they do ask is if you are going to use their music in your stream, let people know you're using their music in your stream.
Yeah, and if you're streaming with it, it's super easy on your overlay just to include it on a square or on a little thing in the bottom corner or whatever. So
what's your opinion on those YouTube videos with background music? Okay, so on those, you have to be careful, because if the artist takes issue with you using their music, they can tell you to cease and desist. They can tell you have to go take the video down.
Yeah.
So it really depends. However, a lot of those creators, they're welcome to you using their music. You have to then reach out to them and get permission. I know one that I love. I would have to find his stuff right now, but I love his music. It's very fantasy-esque music on YouTube. We have a contact that reached out to him and he said, yeah, you can use that in your show. Mm-hmm. And so he got permission from the artist to use that music in their actual play. So,
and we personally love the music thing where you put music in the background and you have different sounds and stuff like that. Like we love it.
When in doubt, get permission. So, and then there's also so that's sounds, but there's also images.
Yeah. Images are a big one as well. And that's the one that's more difficult for the artists to kind of track. Music is that you've got these big conglomerates and these big companies that are able to use algorithms to go through and check all of their stuff. But images, it's a little harder. But be honest. Please be honest. Just be honest. There we go. Okay, beginning and end. But some places you can get some free imagery. There's Unsplash, UN Splash. And then those pictures are all completely free. They just ask that you credit the artist or the photographer for the project. But you can create some really incredible stuff with their pictures. They also have video now, which is really cool. So you can use some of their videos as well. You can take them yourself. That's always an option. There's also Pixel.
It's actually called Pexels.
Oh.
Pexels.
Oh.
I just double checked.
Pexels.
So yeah, here's a list.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, you can look on Flickr.
Yeah.
Shutterstock's going to cost you money.
Shutterstock is not free. Shutterstock is freaking expensive.
Yep, but they've got some great stuff.
They have some awesome fantasy stuff, but they are expensive. So if you have the money, do it, because they have incredible stuff and they have great video, stock video and images. Artgrid.io is another one that has great music and video. That is a subscription-based thing, just like Epidemic Sound is. but it's also very expensive. It's like $50 or $60 a month. And this last one I'm going to suggest is, it is a subscription, but it is so helpful if you have an actual play, because you can do all of your marketing, imaging, and your posters. The poster that I made for our show today, our overlay is made in this, and I know my friend Matt is, if he ever watches this, he will laugh at me when I say this, but if you are starting out and you don't know much about design, get Canva.
Why would he laugh at you for that?
Matt thinks Canva is horrible.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. Matt always makes fun of us when we talk about Canva.
But you love Canva.
I love Canva. So everything that we use for promotional stuff, I'm not a professional designer. I know that it could be better, but I really like what I have been able to create in Canva, and I think that it works really well for what we need at the moment. Eventually, I would love for us to be able to hire a part-time graphic designer to do all of our stuff.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Not right now.
Canva, it's like $135 a year that is paid yearly, but they have a crazy amount of pictures and stock video. Our
it's like
TTRPG news is from there.
The intro thing that, she built that whole little video thing with the girl and the bow.
With the girl and the bow and the words and the stuff.
All that was built on Canva.
All of that through Canva. So you can do short little videos. You can use the free pictures. There's tons of elements that you can use. It is probably the number one thing that I would suggest if for marketing stuff is get Canva if you are starting your AP.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and the last one is what I would really recommend, because when we found this helped a lot. Mm-hmm. But it's check the game maker's policy on images.
Yes.
We play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and Paizo's, their rule is that if it is a public image, if we post it on forums, if it's not behind a paywall, you can use the image. So if it's on their wiki, you can use the image. If it's in a press release that they did, you can use the image.
If they released it on their Twitter,
if
their
they
Instagram.
If they used it in any of their promotional stuff for a product, you can use the image if you're, for a Pathfinder game or for anything like that. So we actually have in our intro we play on our so like those characters.
That poster that you see in the bottom left-hand side of the screen, that was made in Canva and with characters from
Paizo.
From Paizo's stuff.
Yep. Well, and then our intro, if you come on Friday night and watch our intro, all of those are Pathfinder official images, and we're allowed to use all of them because they're all out there, and they're not, I didn't have to go find a PDF version of one of the books and then copy it out of there. Yeah. So that is their policy. I'm not sure Wizards of the Coast policy, but I would go check it, because you might be able to use some images from Wizards of the Coast, official, D&D imagery in your show, and you don't know until you check.
Well, and I know their logo, they're really, really flexible with their logo, because they don't go after anybody that uses their logo in their streams.
Because it just advertises them.
Yeah, it's just advertising for them, so they don't do it. But yeah, just double check the copyright on anything that you're going to be using that you're not making yourself.
And I know that you can get scared, but you know what? The worst that can happen is they say no. And then you have to find a different option. And if they say yes, then you might have you've got like that person, you're like, okay, this is just the right piece of art. Gosh, I wish I could use this. This is so what I'm wanting in this image. Oh, this is from a D&D material. Where did it come from? You shoot a message to the
artist or
the artist, or to I'm sure that there's a way to reach out to Wizards on Twitter or anything like that and say, hey, found this image. Is this one available? Is this something I could use in a D&D actual play without causing any copyright issues? And let them tell you yes or no.
Yeah.
Because honestly, by doing an actual play, we technically advertise their game.
Yeah, we do.
So they're very willing, as long as you check and stuff like that, they're willing to, as long as it's not behind a paywall, let you do stuff, because it only helps them.
Yeah, and independent creators a lot of times are really, really flexible about this kind of stuff. So if you're doing an indie game, most of the time they will be totally fine with you using the artwork from the game.
Yeah, the worst they can say is no.
Mm-hmm. And oh wait, worst that can happen is they say no is one of my favorite pieces of advice. That's very true. This is very true. It's good advice. Okay, so we're gonna bang through a couple of these because I just realized what time it was. Find ways to engage with your audience. So like our little
dragons,
our little dragons. So I have to say, Hope for TTRPGs is the one that turned me on to avatars. I didn't know they existed until like a month ago, and then I became obsessed with them.
Little dragons.
I love the little dragons and the dinos. So this helps our AP stand out. It helps our show stand out from other shows that you have little dragons that you can play with. And we also have, apparently, we're dropping bombs on people.
Dropping some bombs.
People are getting bombed. We play boss battle games with our guys, and it's just something fun and silly and whatever. I love it. I know that when I was on Hope's stream and I was there, I went to say hi to her, and I stayed because of the avatars, because they were little kitties. So I got to have a little kitty.
Well, and then we have on our actual play, like, you can give hero points. Mm-hmm. And you can change, or villain points. You give one to the DM to use by the monsters. And
yeah, which is
that
awesome.
Can change what happens in an encounter completely. In our last encounter, we had some people shelling out villain points, and I was like, "Ha,
so
rerolls."
Frustrating. So yeah, finding different ways to engage with your audience and give them value without asking for anything in return is a huge thing for actual plays. Oh, wait, who just kicked us?
Everyday Superhero just gave us a
Julian!
boot.
Oh my gosh. So rude. But yeah, so find ways to engage with your audience. I do a ton of engagement on Twitter for both myself personally and for our official stream or our official channel on Twitter. I love Twitter. It's my main form of communication, but we also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page.
But honestly, I would say
Twitter
start with focusing on one.
And I would really suggest Twitter. The TTRPG space on Twitter is super active. Super active. Stop it with the attacking. Wait, is that from before? Is that from when you kicked us last time? Will you stop? Oh, wait, no. Who did it to Julian? Wait, who did it to Julian?
Starry Night.
Starry Night did it to you. Okay, anyway, sorry, this is why I also get super distracted by the avatars. So yeah, just find ways to engage with your audience on any platform. Stick with one at the beginning. It can be incredibly overwhelming. There are a lot of different programs that you can use that will let you schedule them. We will do a marketing day where I would like to bring on a friend of mine who is a marketing genius when it comes to Twitter and Instagram, specifically for TTRPGs, and we are going to talk all about that kind of stuff, because there are ways that you can schedule all of your tweets. There's ways that you can schedule all of your posts for Instagram and your reels and all of that stuff, and you can like do it all in one fell swoop, like for the week, and you don't have to think about it. So that's really nice. Very nice. All right. Next one. Pick a schedule you can actually maintain.
Here, real quick. Instead of having people, attack each other, let's go ahead and no, but we're gonna play some basketball.
Oh, we're playing basketball.
So we're gonna go play basketball.
Yay! So you have to hit !join. You have to type in !join to join the game. So you have 16 seconds to do it. !join.
Well, !join red or !join blue.
So you have to
pick your teams, put it in real quick.
Because if you don't, then we're just gonna have to sit here for 5 minutes while it does this. Will it just kick it out if nobody joins it?
I don't know.
Nope.
Okay, we're gonna try this again.
Can you stop it?
I'm sure I can. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna.
So to join any of the games that we can play with the avatars, you have to hit !.
I wonder if the lag is so much that no one has time to join.
I'm wondering too, can you change how long it takes?
I'm going to have to figure that out. See, and don't be afraid to make mistakes when you do new things, because sometimes it doesn't work.
We've been playing with these little avatars for a while, trying to figure out how they actually work. It took us a hot minute to figure out how to even join these things. Did you?
Crap! I gotta figure out how to end this game.
I don't think you can stop it. I think we just have to let it sit there. Can you go to a different screen?
I've got to have a way to stop it.
Oh no, you can't go to a different screen. You could just take off the avatars on this screen for the moment, and then put them back. Anyway, so while he does that and he's trying to figure all that out, so pick a schedule that you can maintain. Because we live together, I would hope we live together because we're married. Because we're together, we are able to stream twice a week, and that's maintainable for us. But for a lot of actual plays that I know, doing it once a week is very unrealistic because there's a lot of people that are involved in a lot of moving parts. So choosing like twice a month or once a month, there's quite a few actual plays that I know of where they get together on like the first Saturday of the month and they will play for like 7 or 8 hours, and then they release the episodes of the sessions like a little bit at a time. So it's like it'll be like an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever. So they break up one mega session into smaller sessions. So if you're doing like a podcast, that works really, really well. If you're doing an actual play that's live streamed, obviously that's not going to work.
Well, I love what Everyday Superhero said. I started with once a month to limit out burnout and work on introducing myself to the internet. And then as you get used to it, as you get in your flow, like now I can set up for a stream in 10 minutes.
Yeah, like 10 or 15 minutes.
Especially if I haven't...
Take us an hour.
Especially if I haven't messed with the setup in the last week. Like if I haven't completely, thrashed this to turn it into a gaming room for...
Or our children.
Or our children have.
With it.
Like if that hasn't happened, come in here. Oh, we're set up. Let's do a mic check. Let's do, lighting check. And then you start. And so it becomes easier the longer you do it. So start out with less, increase to more.
Yeah. So pick a schedule that you can maintain. On top of that, break up your streaming schedule and have planned breaks so that that also helps with burnout. Not with burnout, but like it helps to prevent burnout.
Yes.
I was definitely in a burnout mode like a month and a half ago now, where I wanted to burn everything to the ground. I seriously wanted to just say, screw this and let's walk away from it, because I was not seeing what I felt like was, at the time, was a successful stream. I felt like we were not doing well and that like we weren't growing and blah, 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 blah. Thankfully, I have a wonderful partner in this that didn't let me do that. If I had been on my own, I might have. But if you have scheduled breaks of your show, it will help with that, because you'll know, okay, I will have a break on this day, or these weeks we're going to take off. We are probably going to take off a couple of months between the end of campaign 1 and the beginning of campaign 2.
Damn, months?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to take off a couple of months because Mama has a full-time job and cannot do all the promotional material at the same time as trying to do promotional material for a show that's already current.
But apparently Daddy's got a full-time job and can write the campaign.
That's why we're taking the time off. We're taking a couple of months so that you can, because we're building the homebrewed world, and then we have to do the camp. You have to build the actual story arcs and stuff. So
yeah. Lot to do there, which I'm so excited for that system. Starting to get some homebrewed systems really in place this last week, and
yeah,
I think it's going good.
It's really cool. We will talk.
We'll talk about that later
at a different time. So break it up for planned breaks. So if you've got like 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or you're like, okay, we're gonna do every week for 6 weeks, and then we're gonna take 3 weeks off, or whatever. Like stuff like that is really, really helpful. To prevent burnout, because burnout happens to literally everyone. Matt Mercer actually responded to a tweet of mine where I asked him, like, what do you do with burnout? Because in the last 9 years, I'm sure that you have experienced this. And he responded to me and he said that, you know, taking scheduled breaks and being honest with your players is a good thing to do. Switching out who's the DM is a good way for you to kind of rejuvenate and bring back your creative juices and enjoyment for the game itself. And I just gotta say, it made me feel really special that Matt responded to me.
Well, and starting out, you bring up the idea of, you know, bring on guests, and I think that can break things up for the players a little bit.
Yeah.
Change helps a lot, but you as the GM are still having to run the game.
It's still
make sure you give yourself breaks.
Yeah. I know, Julian, we're excited for the system too. I'm very excited. We're going to be doing like a whole stream talking about what we're doing closer to when we actually start streaming. But yeah.
Well, and I am looking for other game masters who are wanting to get in on, you know, helping to create the system. This is, you know, something that is very dear to my heart, and the more people that we can get involved. So we're going to have ways for people to get involved with the creation and being part of that home brewing together.
It's going to be really good and fun. And I feel like we're being very vague and cryptic about this.
No, just explaining it would take another 20, 30 minutes.
It is a home brewed system that gamifies mental health issues and creates really dynamic ways to handle them.
Yeah, it's not a fully homebrewed system. I mean, it's going to be built on using mainly D&D 3.5, but we have added a mechanic, some homebrewed mechanics that will simulate the struggles of mental health in a world, and using the alignment system, a tweak on the alignment system to do so.
Yeah, so, it's chaos and order. It's not good and evil.
Yep, it's going to be very interesting.
It's really cool, but we'll do a full stream talking about that. It's awesome. So, okay, so last but not least is marketing your show. Okay, so if you're going to take the time to stream your show, you don't want nobody to watch it. You want to actually be able to get people in. Get what? Gamifies mental health issues. My jaw literally dropped. Yeah, I know. It's kind of cool. It all stemmed from one day I woke up and said to Weston, it's like the roll of the dice. I never know if I'm going to wake up happy or upset. And he took that and it sat in his little brain.
And percolated.
And he was like, oh, I like this. Because I struggle with depression. So it's a fun thing. Anyway, marketing your show. You want people to come see your show. You don't want to be streaming to a channel of none. It's not fun, honestly. It's not fun to stream to one person. But
although every one of you is important to us.
You guys are so important. Do you know what? Seriously, though, we do notice when certain people don't show up after, like, if you're a regular and you don't show up, I will talk about it. We'll be like, oh, so-and-so has, like, Syntonite hasn't showed up
just
recently.
what I was thinking, yeah.
And, like, some of our regulars who show up a lot, like...
CO Matt now streams at the same time we do.
I know. CO Matt used to come every single week. So it's like, you guys really do mean a lot to us. Even though I don't know who you are in real life, in our virtual world, you guys do mean quite a bit to me. I'm gonna get all emotional. Anyway, so marketing your show. If you do not post about your show on social media, no one will know about your show. That is just the way that it is.
Self-promo
Saturdays. So in the TTRPG space on Twitter, we have something called Self-Promo Saturdays, where we will just post about our own stuff and interact with other people's stuff, and we create hundreds, if not thousands, of threads on Twitter about just what you're doing. A lot of the growth that we had at the very beginning of this stream was because of Self-Promo Saturday. It was like we just were brand new and we hadn't ever really been in the space before, and that was how we got out there the very first time. And yes, Starry Night, that is true. Whip Wednesdays. Work in Progress Wednesdays. That's actually a really normal thing for TTRPG, but also like the author sphere, like the writing Twitter. That's like a huge thing that they do as well. So you have to be careful. Make sure you're commenting on the TTRPG ones and not the writer ones, because they get very confused. They're like, why are you posting on this? But yes, I cannot iterate this enough for getting your show out there. You have to market your show on your social media channels. And if you don't have social media for your show, go get one.
Yep.
You have to put it out there. You have to put it out there often. Posting things like reels or stories, like YouTube things. Twitter has like a time limit, I believe, of up to 1 minute that you can post a video on Twitter. But like, just take your product, which is your show, and cut it down into lots of different content to put on lots of different platforms. Like our VODs go on YouTube, because after 2 weeks our VODs disappear on Twitter or on Twitch.
On Twitch.
But we also cut down 1 minute segments and 3 minute segments to put on TikTok. And I also make those reels on Instagram. And because I am editing all of them in editing software and not in the actual apps, I can post them in multiple places without with the algorithm not dinging me because it came from a different social media platform, which they will do that.
Yes, they will.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the algorithm will ding you and not push your stuff out if you are creating it on a different app. Just know that. We as independent little small baby creators, we cannot rest on our laurels when we're marketing our things.
Yep.
And trust me, I know that if you look at our social media, you'll be like, Hayley, why do you not do your own things? Like, why don't you look at yourself in the mirror when you say these things? We have actually had a couple of pretty intense discussions about why we don't have the time right now to do that. As soon as I am able to quit my full-time job and go to a part-time position, I will have time to do all of that. But right now, because we both work full-time, we're parents of 3 little boys, we are trying to keep our lives in order at the same time as building this. And I'm also writing a novel.
Yeah.
It's
a thing.
It's a thing.
So Story Night asks any tips on better ways to cut down your vids for Twitter and such. One thing, if you're playing with a bunch of players and you're on Twitch, have one of the guys have Twitch open, because they can make clips. Mm-hmm. Like, have someone, okay, your job is to find when something really funny happens on the Twitch, click, oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Then click the make a clip button, and they can help you in making clips. Mm-hmm. For us, it's hard because there's only two of us. We can't really divide the work as much. But if you've got 4 players, say, hey, give them, I think you can give them like certain access.
You can give them mod access, and they can create clips. Or the other way that I do it is I will have the clock, and I know when we start. And I just write down what time something happened that was kind of cool. And I will go back and I'll figure out, okay, we started at 8:30, or 8 o'clock. And so it was 9:36 when that happened. So that was an hour and 36 minutes into the show. And then I go find that. That's one way that I've started keeping track of clips. But the best way to do it for Twitch that I have found is you create the clip in Twitch and you can download it. So you create the clip in Twitch, you download it, and you can download it either into your editing software. Like if you have a Mac, you can take it into iMovie. I personally am incredibly comfortable with my app. That's a video editing software on my app, or on my phone, and it's an app. And yeah. I've tried to figure out the computer ones like DaVinci Resolve and whatever.
We don't have
a video. Too complicated.
Well, and we don't have a video card good enough for DaVinci Resolve. It takes like 2 hours.
2 or 3 hours.
It takes like 4 hours to render a 2-hour show. Yeah. So it takes longer to render the show than it took to record the show.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying. So he says Starry Night says I stream on YouTube. I'm not sure how YouTube has that worked.
There is a way to do it. Harris Heller, Alpha Gaming, talks about it. Go to Alpha Gaming and go look through his stuff and where he talks about streaming on YouTube, because he is like a whiz at YouTube streaming and he knows how to do that. Make shorts from clips.
Hello, Ham Hunter.
Hi, Ham Hunter.
Ooh, yummy. Ham.
I know. Ham is really... Do you like ham? Is that why you named yourself Ham Hunter? The hunter of the ham.
Yes.
No pig is safe in my sight.
But it must be spiral cut and honey.
Yes. Spiral cut. I'm so sorry. That is just... Okay, thanks. Also, I use any protons. Oh, okay, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
I'm always like concerned about that. And I'm like, they are them, whatever. But yeah, so YouTube, Alpha Gaming, Harris Heller, he will have everything that you are interested in that regard, Starry Night. So go check him out. But if you're doing it on Twitch, you can literally just make clips in Twitch and then download them. And then I use my app on my phone and I edit them. The biggest thing about creating shorts or vids on for like Twitch or TikTok, or not Twitch, excuse me, on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever, you have to put closed captions on them now.
Do you?
You have to put captions on them because a lot of people will scroll through without the sound on. If they're, I know that like I started doing that. Yeah, you do that. Most people actually do that now. And so having captions or having just the words written in, like I manually put words in when I use the app. If I'm just posting something to TikTok and I'm not planning on posting it anywhere else, I use the in-app captions.
Okay.
Because they're actually fairly good. I don't have to correct them very often.
What's the app you're using?
TikTok.
Oh, it's TikTok.
Yeah, so if it's a video I'm only putting on TikTok, I'm not planning on putting it anywhere else, I'll just use the in caption or the in.
Yeah, Starry Night says I usually scroll through on TikTok during class in school.
Yeah.
You should be paying attention in school.
No, you freaking drop out. Don't take any more student loans out. It's freaking worthless. Anyway, I have my own.
Hey, we don't know. He might be in high. They might be in high school.
I'm assuming you're in college. Are you not in college?
They might be in junior high. You don't know.
No, not. If you're in junior high, you need to go to bed. Hold on. Haha, yeah. And Ham Hunter was my first D&D character. I named it because I haven't eaten ham in a long time, but I want to. Why haven't you eaten ham? I couldn't live without it. We eat ham every day. I couldn't live without it. Could I live without it? I don't think I could live without ham.
I don't think you could either.
Because, like, I eat ham for breakfast, and I have ham sandwiches, and I have bacon, and I couldn't do it.
Well, honestly, the only reason you have ham every morning is it's lean, fat.
You are a senior in high school?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
So, like I said, stay in school.
Weston.
But go to a trade school instead.
Go to a trade school. Don't go to college. College is a freaking scam. Anyway, sorry.
We have opinions.
We have really strong opinions about college. But yes, so stream. Make sure you stream. Or it's not stream.
Post.
Make sure you caption all of your posts when you're using that as a marketing tool. The other thing is, most people don't think about this when they're thinking about marketing their show. Most of the people, I have a scholarship lined up.
There we go. That works.
Well, fine. I keep forgetting to buy ham, and when I get home, I go. Okay, right now, you should set a reminder for the day that you go grocery shopping. Remember to get ham.
Set 2 reminders.
Set 2 reminders. There you go. Yay, no student debt. Yeah, no student debt. Don't. Just don't.
Yeah.
Don't do student loans.
Let's.
Okay. Anyway. Oh, and Ham Hunter just started college this year. take it from us.
I'm only mastering in English. Oh. Go learn to code as a career.
Yeah, Weston's a coder.
I'm a coder.
After getting his college degree in economics.
Yeah.
And I am a software technician, and I got my degree in opera.
Vocal
so
performance,
you can see that helped a lot. So what was I saying? You guys, I keep getting super
cohesive.
distracted. So something that is a pretty major part of marketing your show, if you're wanting to do your show, like if you're wanting to actually start really gaining an audience, is through genuine interaction on the social media platforms. I know that sounds really simple and stupid, but most people get this wrong. They get it wrong. So you have to go into the community with an understanding that you are like brand new, like act like you're brand new to pretty much everybody, and treat them like you would want someone to treat you.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody that's posting like really cool image that they drew or artwork or whatever, make a genuine comment about the artwork. Don't just say, oh, that looks nice, because that's the most generic blah ever. But comment on something actually in the painting or in the piece of digital art that drew your eye. Or if somebody's commenting about something that happened about like in their game this last weekend, try to find a connection to something that you have experienced in one of your games that you can kind of make that connection with. If you have genuine and real interactions with people on social media, they will follow you. It takes time. It takes energy. It's exhausting sometimes. But that's the best way to start really growing your brand as your show, is just doing that. I literally just put into the search bar on Twitter, TTRPG, the hashtag. And then I try to comment on as many posts as I possibly can in like a 1 hour period. And then I let it go for like the day or whatever. And I have found that I have gained more genuine friendships that way through Twitter. Like, I know, Julian, I met you through Twitter. If you're even still on, I don't even know if you're still on. So yeah, you are. But that's like the best way for you to really build a community.
And don't use posting on someone else to then say, yeah, that looks great. You know what's great? My show.
Don't do that.
Don't
do that.
That's a great map. You should come check out the maps on my show.
Don't do that. That's
don't.
what I mean. Like genuine interactions where you're not wanting to get anything from anybody else.
Yep.
You're just like there hanging out. It's like you're chilling at the party and you're like, hey, what's up? Not much. What's up with you? Like it has to be genuine. People can tell if you are fake.
Yeah.
They can tell if you're totally blowing smoke, which is why if I don't feel it, if I'm not feeling social that day, I don't do my social media. And I have eyelash glue in my eye, even though I didn't wear lashes tonight.
That's weird.
Well, I tried to put them on and it just sucked.
It just failed. All right.
Yes, it's nice to engage in the community and have the community engages with you. Exactly. So I recently hit a milestone on my Twitter. I'm sorry, this is just bugging me. Okay, but I just hit a milestone on my Twitter that was really exciting. I hit 2,000 followers on Twitter.
Yay.
And I hit it right at my 1 year Twitterversary. And I was so excited. And it made me so happy because the 2,000 people that were following me are following me or whatever. These are people that I have interacted with and been able to hang with socially online, and they're not bots, and they're not, I mean, there might be some bots in there, but they're I didn't buy any people.
Yeah.
I didn't buy followers. And you can do that. You can buy followers for basically every social media platform, which are just either bots or fake accounts.
Yep.
For people to follow you. So genuine interaction within the community is the best possible way for you to gain any type of followership or just, and I hate saying followership because it sounds weird to me, but if you're trying to build a community, which is what we're trying to do, is build a community of people that genuinely care for each other. That's the best way to do it. Yep. Genuinely care for other people. And sometimes you might get burned, but most of the time, everybody responds positively.
Which, speaking of community, you should follow and subscribe.
Weston is really good at that because I forget to tell people to do those things.
But no, seriously, you should.
But seriously, you should follow our show if you don't follow it. Because we're super fun. Followership sounds like you are a new god in a pantheon trying to get followers.
We are. Didn't you realize that?
We are the traveler.
Challenges.
We are the traveler.
But that's the other thing is
are you
support.
Hayley on Twitter? Oh, that's how I found this channel, because Twitter. Yes, I am Hayley on Twitter. I am that same person.
Well, and that's the thing.
And I'm also Hayley on all of my social media platforms because I didn't want to confuse people.
Well, and support other streams.
Yes.
That's like there's one person that you know that you sent them you bought them a coffee on Coffee.
I shot. It was Matt. It's Matt at Abyssal Brews. It was when he was first starting his brand and his homebrew stuff, if you follow him on Twitter. And I just shot him $5 on coffee. And I said, hey, go buy yourself a coffee. And then I told other people to go buy him a coffee. And he reached out to me and he was just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And we became fairly good friends. Do y'all have a Discord? Maybe.
What do you mean maybe?
We do?
We don't actually.
No, we do.
We do?
We do, but I haven't done anything with it.
We're going to be building...
literally one channel.
We are going to be building that out because that's, again, a space where I want to collaborate on the new homebrew world and homebrew system within D&D that we're going to be building. So I would stay tuned, stay connected for when we do actually start pushing that Discord. That will be for subscribers. So
we'll have a subscriber only section.
Yep.
Of the Discord, but it'll be open for everybody. But there will be a specific section for subscribers.
Which that will be the area where the discourse on the gaming system will be happening.
Yeah, it'll be fun. If you want help with the Discord, I can help. Cool.
We remember it was Starry Night. So how do we? So I guess
I think I don't know.
Find him on
Twitter.
Go
find me on the Tweeter.
Yeah, find her on the Tweeter.
Go find me on the Tweeter.
Well, that's how we call it. We call it the Tweeter.
I call it the Tweeter. But yeah, so like that's how I became really good friends with Matt at Abyssal Brews, is because that's like how it started. And I wasn't trying to get anything out of him. I just was like, hey, I have a little bit of money and I can throw it at your thing. And there you go. And I've done that with a couple of people that I'm just like, hey, I like you and I like what you do and I want to support you.
Karma's a thing.
Karma is a thing. Especially in a community as small as the TTRPG community, that is real. It's real,
Do
dude.
good things for others, good things will return.
It's true. What was the last thing? Oh, the very last thing that we wish we had known was how to create a cohesive color scheme and logo for our show. This is one that goes into the marketing part of it, and we don't really have enough time for me to really talk about it. Bluebird app politicians use. Is that wait, what? It's been really neat to hear all these familiar names from the community. Love all of these people. I know, me too.
We like them too.
I like them too. We're good friends. It's so fun. Bluebird app politicians use. Is that what you mean is the Tweeter? I'm assuming that's what you mean.
Oh, yes.
Tweeter.
It's the Bluebird app politicians use.
Yes,
Twitter.
That one is the Tweeter.
Yes.
I'm putting it in here. Party of 2 RPG Live is our official on Twitter for our show. And then my personal one is Hayley M_Bell. And I'm more active on the Hayley M_Bell one than I am on our Party of 2, and I'm trying to get better. I try to switch off days, actually, where I'm active on one and then I'm active on the other one the next day. But yeah, create a cohesive color scheme. Our color scheme is blue, cream, red, and black. No. Something? I don't remember. Shoot. I'm really good apparently at my color scheme. And we're overlays is one other thing that we didn't talk about at all. But if you're doing a live stream in any way, shape, or form, if you're streaming anything at all, you need to have an overlay. And there are many, many places to find free overlays.
Stream Elements, Player.me.
Just type in free overlays for Twitch.
You'll find a ton of them.
Or YouTube, and you'll find a ton of them. I built our overlay in Canva. It's not, I'll be totally honest, it's not very good. I'm going to be building a new one because now I know more. This was the overlay that I built when I didn't know anything about anything. Well, and now I do!
You can only learn by doing, so don't be afraid to start. Don't be afraid to have less than the stellar, professional level at the beginning, because you'll learn things and you'll grow, which I actually brings me to what I think is the last and probably most important thing is find a reason your stream's different.
Yes.
You got to have some way. There are tons of actual plays out there. What makes your actual play any different or something I should watch as opposed to the other actual play? Because if you don't have anything that's really that different, sorry, I'm going to go watch Critical Role.
Yeah. And don't, for the love of Pete, don't copy Critical Role.
Be different.
Don't copy Critical Role.
Ooh.
I love Critical Role. I adore Critical Role. I love Matt Mercer. I think Matt Mercer is incredible. I love the cast.
Don't try to be them.
Ugh. However, they are them, you are you. And so you need to be you. We, collectively, Weston and I, we're unique because we're married and we're playing just the two of us.
So only one person in one PC in the DM campaigns.
Yeah, and as far as we know, we don't know of anybody else that streams that.
Nope.
And so it's a niche that is not a huge thing for other people. We don't have tons and tons and tons of people that watch us, obviously, but we have the best people that watch us. We have the most important people. The most important people watch us. But we know, we have a realistic, this is another one, have a realistic idea of your show and what it's going to do and where it's going to be in a year. You're not going to be Critical Role. Nobody's Critical Role except for Critical Role.
Yeah.
Just have realistic expectations.
It's going to take a lot of time.
10 viewers per stream.
Yep. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. Be patient with yourself. And make a stream that's you. That's one reason why we're doing this new campaign where we're talking about mental health, because that's our life. That's our struggles.
And to get a little personal, we feel very called to discuss this and to discuss taboo subjects that are just not things that most people talk about, and mental health struggles, and being really open and honest about them is something that Weston and I have a talent for, being willing to be vulnerable. And
in a way that doesn't, as opposed to triggering people who deal with it, it makes them feel like they can talk about it.
Yeah.
And so that's, find things about you, put them in your stream, because that's what will make them different. Mm-hmm. That's what will make then draw people to you who are like you.
Yep.
So
exactly.
I think that is all we got for the night. We're almost at 10 o'clock.
We're at 2 hours. This is long. We moved our time to 8 o'clock, and it was okay, we'll get done at 9:30. We just do it for an hour and a half, and we consistently end at 10.
We have lots to talk about.
Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. It was so fun. It was so fun to be able to get to talk to you and whatnot. If you are not currently following our stream, hit that follow button, hit the little notification bell. That way you will know every time we go live.
And if you want to support the stream, you can subscribe. If you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you can actually get a free subscription to a Twitch account. To a Twitch channel, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
With a Twitch Prime subscription. So if you've got Amazon Prime and haven't already used your subscription for the month, go ahead and subscribe. It won't cost you anything extra.
That was a ton of info. I know we kind of fire hosed it, Papa. It was a little intense. We are gonna do an entire forgot about my Amazon Prime. I got it last month too. I'm glad that this was some good information. We are going to be doing an episode of Tabletop Dream Talks where we are going to talk specifically about how to market your show. And I'm working on getting Matt to come. It's hard. He's on the East Coast, so it's like
10 o'clock
his time when we go live. So I'm working on it, though. It's awesome.
Starry Nights, how you use this
Twitch Prime subscription. You should be able to...
I think if you go into subscribe, you can choose if you want to use a Twitch Prime subscription, and then you have to log into your Amazon account.
Yeah.
And then it can do that.
I just know that I think that was it, because I use ours.
Starry Night, you're 18, you know the tech age, go Google it.
Go you Googleize it.
Go you Googleize
and
it.
Thank you so much for coming, Ham Hunter. It was nice to get to know you a little bit. Just a reminder, Friday night, our actual play of the Scions, our two-person campaign where I will get to be the GM.
I've been GMing for like 12 to 13 weeks.
You've been GMing for a while.
So it's nice to back in the player seat.
Oh, my video will not. There we go. So I'm back in the GM's chair. I am the one with the ultimate control. However, Az will be the main character for this.
I get to be the PC again.
I know, you get to be the PC. His character is an NPC. We switch off that way. Anyway, so hugs and loves and all of that jazz. It was so good to see you guys. And remember, it only takes two. Good night.
Good night, y'all.